For those of you who think that I am too tough on the Democratic Party, I do have some more evidence that the criticisms of them being too corporatist, too right-wing, are absolutely 100% justified. And this comes from Li Fong and Zee Jalani of The Intercept. Now, according to their findings, the 2016 convention in Philadelphia, the DNC, right, will be officially hosted by, surprise, surprise, corporate executives and industry lobbyists. Everybody, here's my shocked face. They write, quote, some of the members of the 2016 Democratic National Convention Host Committee, whose job it is to organize the logistics and events for the convention, are hardly even Democratic Party stalwarts. Now, this is them writing, of course. Given that many have donated and raised thousands of dollars for Republican presidential and congressional candidates in this cycle. They also write, in October, DNC Chair Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz, yes, fucking Debbie Wasserman Schultz, reportedly huddled with dozens of lobbyists to plan the convention in Philadelphia, and provided the influence peddlers involved with a menu of offerings in exchange for donations. Now, they don't get into detail of what these offerings are, but you can probably assume that they're things like, we'll help back you on certain Republican or certain corporate giveaways, maybe some tax breaks for businesses, you know, stuff like that. Now, in February, news reports revealed that the DNC had actually quietly lifted the Obama-era ban on federal lobbyist donations to the party and convention committee. And now, interesting. Now, a lot of, some news outlets actually covered that, but it wasn't that widely circulated that they got rid of Obama's rules on lobbying. You know why? Because, first of all, they love that corporate money, but it goes up against the narrative that Hillary Clinton's trying to put out. Oh, no, I'm not influenced by the money at all. We're not a corrupt party. No, Bernie Sanders is wrong. Ignore him. Well, I think it's pretty obvious. By getting rid of these rules and accepting more corporate cash, you're reinforcing Bernie Sanders' position and saying that the DNC is wholly bought and corrupt. I mean, that's exactly what you're saying when you do that. Now, it's funny because they always tend to say, like, oh, don't worry, we don't actually want the money. I mean, if it were up to us, we wouldn't actually take that money. But we're doing it, as Barney Frank had said, it's a defense mechanism against Republicans. If it were up to them, they wouldn't touch that money at all. No. Of course not. Of course not. We don't want that money. We don't want that dirty corporate money. We just need it to fight Republicans. And we just end up getting a payday at the end. You know, but, it's either us or the Republicans. What are you going to choose, right? That's a load of horseshit. I mean, that is probably one of the weakest defenses that I've seen. Well, they take it too. That's what it boils down to. Well, hey, since they're taking corporate money, we should too. No, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should, show some fucking backbone and stand up against corporate crony capitalism. Like you're supposed to. No, but they have no spine, and they, of course, love that corporate cash flowing into their campaign coffers every campaign season. They love it. Now, of course, the DNC is going to come out and say, we don't actually lobby. And this comes from Anna Adams Sarthau, who is the communications director for the Philadelphia 2016 Host Committee. Now, she wrote in an email to The Intercept that she has no concerns about lobbyists participating in the effort because, quote, the Host Committee is a nonprofit entity that does not lobby. Oh, really? Yeah. No. See, we don't have any problem with lobbyists. In fact, we love lobbyists because we're a nonprofit. Right. Quote, our host committee is made up of a diverse group of civic leaders that have led efforts like this in the past, many of whom were integrally involved in the bid for Philadelphia to host a convention. That was what she wrote to The Intercept. So she mentioned civic leaders, right? Well, who are these civic leaders? These wonderful pillars of the community that just helped the DNC to get their spot in Philadelphia. Well, the first one is the host committee finance chair is a man named David Hilferty. Now, in his day job, Hilferty is the CEO of Independence Blue Cross. Now, they are a health insurance giant that covers about 9 million people. Now, in December, Hilferty became board chairman of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association of America. Now, what are they? That's a trade group that lobbies on behalf of the insurance industry. He also serves on the board of directors of America's Health Insurance Plan, which is abbreviated AHIP, which is totally not hip, because they're an insurance lobbying group that has been fighting the Affordable Care Act. Yep, you heard that right. The finance chair of this host committee for the Democratic Party serves on a group, an industry lobbying group that has been fighting and lobbying against the Affordable Care Act. According to this article, lobby registration documents show the BCBS Association has been actively supporting a number of Republican bills to roll back provisions within the Affordable Care Act. Not only that, but Hilferty has also donated heavily to Republicans during this election cycle, giving $10,000 to Prosperity for Pennsylvania, which is a super PAC supporting the re-election of Senator Pat Toomey, $1,000 for the PAC supporting Senator Orrin Hatch, $1,000 to Senator Tim Scott, $2,700 to Chris Christie's presidential campaign, $25,300 to the NRCC, which is a GOP committee designed to re-elect House Republicans, and of course $2,700 to Jeb Bush. But interestingly enough, Hilferty also gave $2,700 to the campaign of one Hillary Rodham Clinton. Interesting. Well, no, she's not at all like Republicans, and her enemies are the health insurance corporations and big pharmaceuticals. What are you talking about? Oh, I'm just taking money from these guys because they're giving me that money. That doesn't mean I'm going to actually represent their interests when I say single-payer healthcare will never, ever happen. Yeah, all right. Who else? I'm not done with this dream team. Next is Allison Schwartz, who was actually a former Democratic lawmaker. Now, she is the co-chair of the host committee. She was recently named head of a new advocacy group for, once again, the health insurance industry called the Better Medicare Alliance. Now, this group, according to the Center for Public Integrity, was set up by APCO. Now, that is also a lobbying firm for health insurance companies. What they want to do is that they want to push to expand Medicare Advantage plans. Not Medicare, but Medicare Advantage, the Part D created under George W. Bush. Now, those plans were actually curtailed by the implementation of the ACA. So what happened? So they had these plans, Medicare Advantage from George W. Bush, made lots of money for health insurance corporations because then they could administer private healthcare plans within Medicare that had a higher cost overhead and actually made the Medicare more expensive for seniors. That increased the costs of Medicare. Well, Obamacare got rid of it. Now this group wants to bring it back. And they sit on the board, or as a co-chair of the DNC host committee. No, the Democratic Party, not corrupt at all. It's no wonder that they're trying to influence the DNC with investments, legal bribes. They want to do all this stuff. And of course, the Democratic Party is just taking their money. They're just taking it. Now, who else? David Cohen, who's a special advisor to the host committee and serves as executive vice president of Comcast. He also oversees the company's lobbying and regulatory strategy. In addition to being, quote unquote, a hillblazer, one of Hillary Clinton's bundlers has raised over $100,000 or more. Cohen has also been against, surprise, surprise, net neutrality. He's also spent heavily to help elect a Republican Congress, including recent donations to the NRCC, Senator Toomey, Senator Scott, Senator Kelly Ayotte, as well as $33,400 to the NRSC, which is a committee for helping elect GOP members to the Senate. This guy is a special advisor to the host committee for the Democratic National Committee, host committee, against net neutrality. He seems to be against all the things that Democrats and liberals say that they're against. I wonder, how is it that there are so many Republican corporate donors in the DNC host committee? Perhaps it's because now they seem to have some similar goals, right? Now, I have to mention this guy. As the Philadelphia host committee chair is former Democratic Governor Ed Rendell. Now, as I said, and he was a former Democratic governor, but he's also a Hillary Clinton Democrat. In 2011, as New York was debating regulations on fracking, Rendell wrote a pro-fracking opinion column in the New York Daily News, while failing to disclose that he was a paid consultant at a private equity firm that had investments in the natural gas industry. Former governor also joined the group called Fix the Debt, which is an organization backed by Pete Peterson. Now, Pete Peterson advocates, especially through Fix the Debt, for cutting your Social Security benefits. The connections to Republicans go deep. Now, Fix the Debt also backs the Tax Policy Center, who just recently released a report that trashed Bernie Sanders' policy programs. Policies that, despite being implemented in every other industrialized country, they want to call unrealistic. Oh, they're not going to work. They're not going to work. We can't even try to do that because it's going to be terrible. And here's our bullshit studies on why. But the funny thing about that is that you have the lemmings over at the Washington Post, the Daily Beast, the Clinton News Network, CNN. They're all happy to write op-eds and of course do all these stories on how terrible these plans are, how they're not going to work, whatever, right? They follow the lead of a man that's dedicated to cutting your Social Security, to cutting entitlements. That's his thing. And the DNC is connected to these guys through Ed Rendell. Yeah. Look, these are the people that the Democrats have thrown into. Now tell me again how corporate Democrats are on your side, how Hillary Clinton's on your side, how Debbie Wasserman Schultz is on your side. Tell me again, and then I can laugh in your face. Now, to make it worse, these people who work on behalf of those who want even more money in politics. Rendell is currently a special counsel at the law and lobbying firm Ballard Spahr. Earlier this year, that firm launched a new election law group advising clients on campaign finance and lobbying strategy. As if they're not, drowning enough in corporate cash. Now, there's a man named Craig Holman, who's an expert on ethics and campaign finance with Public Citizen, writes this: the Democratic Party, especially the DNC, have actually never liked Obama's policies to disengage lobbyists from campaign fundraising. Now remember, I mentioned earlier that after Barack Obama won, he put in these rules that saying you can't take corporate money for these groups. Well, as soon as Obama stopped being the leader, they're like, oh, well, hell, we're going to reinstate these rules and take lots and lots of corporate bribes. Because we love that money, and we can't wait to get our hands on all of that free corporate cash. Well, quote, the party only went along with the restrictions because Obama was party leader. As soon as Obama could no longer be viewed as the leader, the DNC repealed the lobbyist restrictions. The public only learned about it weeks later. You think they're going to turn down free money? Hell no. And this quote drives it home. Quote, party bosses have always preferred a Wild West when it comes to fundraising. If party bosses had their way, we would have no restrictions on campaign contributions to the parties and a return to the days of Tammany Hall. Oh, you think they're on your side? Just because they have a D next to their name? No. They're on the side of the banks, the big corporations, the lobbyists, the special interests. And you might ask, well, why do they back Democrats when they are obviously more, liberal than the Republicans? I thought these corporations loved Republicans and not Democrats. Well, it's because Democrats are liberal on social issues. We're pro-gay marriage, we're LGBT friendly, we believe in trans rights, all that stuff. And a lot of the people and a lot of the corporations that are funding the DNC also either believe in it or they don't think it's a priority. Like, we don't care. Gay people, yeah, they're customers to us. Sure, they should have rights. But when it comes to corporations, well, make no mistake, the current Democratic Party is incredibly pro-corporate and very, very neoliberal. And with the Democrats, the corporations can make all the money in the world without the bad PR of being linked to the crazy-ass Republicans, the insane anti-LGBT bullshit Republicans, right? It's a win-win for them and an incredible loss for us. And this is who's supporting the Democratic National Committee. And this is the reason why we need to work tirelessly to change that system.